So we're here just at the CIATEC, the end of CIATEC. So you're going home tomorrow, right?
I am. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a great week. There's been so many great technologies. We can definitely see where the Japanese are really moving to the forefront of a lot of great technologies.
So the Japanese have always been kind of like in the forefront, right? They are like, what is Japan doing in technology actually, do you think?
Well, Japan is interesting in the sense that Japan is a culturally driver in the sense they move as one unit. They move towards new technology. But the way they do that is they don't package it as new technology. The Japanese per se are actually against using new technology. But if you market it as a way to enhance the living, kind of breathing aspect of their social economy, then they move towards new technologies. Most of these new technologies are being developed in the West, in Europe, in the United States, but most Americans and most Western nations are actually accepting new technologies, but not accepting in a broad social sense. So the Asians tend to take these things, they repackage it, they don't say it's internet on your phone. They say it's your phone has a way to get all this new information. And the Japanese say, oh, that's great. That's why internet on phones or smartphones was available in Japan 10 to 7 years way before any Western nations ever had deployed that. This is why internet deployed across the entire country 5 to 6 years before it deployed across most other Western countries in the world.
So it's just because they have a different way of doing marketing?
Yes, a different way of doing marketing and social acceptance. Today at the show, I saw a push for artificial intelligence in the home, and artificial intelligence with your mobile phone. But they didn't say artificial intelligence. They said personal agent. They said you now have a personal agent, and they showed the individual working with a personal agent who has some name, some cute name related as a male or female self to that person. And that personal agent helps you to find where you're located. It tracks your GPS, your location data, and other data around you, like the Apple Siri application, but to a next extent. And this personal agent will help you in your life, help you in shopping, and they develop a personal relationship with this anthropomorphic agent on the phone. If you ask Japanese, do you want to have a personal agent with your phone? Then absolutely. This is something that will enhance my life. It will help me. If you ask them, so you support the use of artificial intelligence in your devices? And they say, oh my goodness, that's a very scary concept. I'm not sure that I want to do that. It's the same idea. It's the same use. It's a different way of expressing it to the Japanese culture.
It's because of culture difference. It's because of like hundreds of years of different culture. Is that what it is?
It is, and it's hundreds of different culture, and it's a way of marketing it to show that the whole family benefits from it, not just the young people, the elderly. This is a way for the whole community to gather together. And as they deploy this through marketing, the whole community uses it. As one segment of the community and more segments of the community start to use it, everyone feels like, oh, I must have this. This is something I have to do to fit in as part of the culture. And the Japanese culture is very oneness, of uniformity, of using new technologies. And even more so than Western. In the Western culture, we see phenomena like Facebook and Twitter and these other social media aspects. People start using, going, are you on Twitter? Are you on Twitter? And there's a social pressure of acceptance. This is actually a new concept in the American and the West, but it's been a constant in the Asian countries where they've always had this sense of oneness with individuality, which seems like a contrast or dilemma.
Word of mouth marketing.
Absolutely.
Nationwide, but not socialism.
Not socialism in the political sense, socialism in the socioeconomic sense or the cultural anthropological sense that everyone wants to be together in a group. Yet we still want individuality, and we may have that simple individuality in maybe some color taste changes or some minor, what we call tweaks of the user interface, but generally it's the same functionality that everyone has access to.
So right now in technology, things are moving so fast. Are the Chinese communists going to overtake because they're even more together somehow?
Say it one more time.
I said Chinese communist. I was joking.
Oh. You know, the funny thing is technology is not moving that fast. It seems that it is. The Japanese have an interesting phrase. It's tatamai and hone. Hone means the inner self, the inner being. Tatamai is the outer self. What the Westerns we might call being politically correct is the outer self. The inner self of this question is technology is not moving fast. Biometric, face recognition, artificial intelligence, these are old concepts from the 1950s and 60s. These chips were developed in the 80s and 90s. But we are seeing a faster move of acceptance of these old technologies, and it's an issue of whether or not our social being can accept it quick enough or to accept it. Of course, there's always a dichotomy of the older generation knowing that this new technology is beneficial to the younger generation, and the younger generation using the technology, and they're confused the older generation can't absorb it as quickly. But this is a common problem that's been ongoing for centuries.
So that was NTT Docomo showing, for example, the AI home?
So we had a discussion earlier, and NTT Docomo showed an AI on the smartphone, a personal agent on the smartphone that you could interact with. And probably some of their examples, which is very similar to Siri in some respects, Apple's Siri, is coming into an area, oh, we want to eat someplace. You ask your phone under the name, maybe Susan, here I am in Osaka, where's a good place to eat? And Susan, your personal agent, searches quickly and says, I recommend this place, and this place. And you go, oh, that would be great, but I'm really looking for a vegan diet. Is any of these a vegan, allowable or being specific? Susan does another search of the database and says, yes, these 3 restaurants are, and the closest one to you is 100 meters away. Oh, great, let's go together. And as you walk, Susan gives you step-by-step directions of, oh, we need to turn a little bit more to the right to go this way. And Susan tells you, do you see the big building with the red sign? That's the one you want to go to. So there's more personal interaction, but not only when this is over, as versus Apple Siri, when you end the conversation, it kind of ends there. But Susan, this personal agent, she's still recording information from you. How long were you there? It gives you personal habit of your personal information. And you can choose whether or not you want to share that personal information with other members of your family that have access to similar type phones, or even your social friend network that want to share this information. So you can find trends personally within your group, whether or not, like if you decide later, we should go out to eat, where should we go? Well, the whole group, it turns out, has all been going to tandoori chicken-like restaurants. So we all know maybe we should go to a tandoori chicken place. So it gives us these ideas and it makes it more personal.
So how does AI work? Is it basically getting a lot of data in and trying to analyze it later?
Yes, no, maybe so. As I commonly say, artificial intelligence, all it really is, it's advanced automation. So artificial intelligence has probably 2 main aspects. That is automated decisions based on behavioral patterns. The other aspect of artificial intelligence is inputs of data, whether it be RFID or wireless or GPS or facial recognition. As long as we have all this inputs of data to an artificial intelligence database, it collates all this data and it makes decisions. And generally speaking, people they think of artificial intelligence, they think about cyborgs, they think about killer robots, they get nervous with the concept. But if we take artificial intelligence in the sense of, if we think about our GPS in our car, we put in an address, and then the GPS tells us, go here, go here, go here. We don't really think about it very much. That's a small artificial intelligence. It's mapping out a direction for you. And then you kind of empower that device to say, yes, I'm going to follow it. So an artificial intelligence will most likely, for example, in your home, artificial intelligence in your home, a stranger comes to the door, it takes an image of the face of the person coming to the door, and on your cell phone it pops up and says, hey, someone's at the door, just before you ring the door, and you personally look at that image and you say, oh, that's my son. and the system will say, should I let them in? And you say, well, yes. So now the artificial intelligence will know that face you let in, and that was your son. And after a while, maybe 10 or 20 times of doing this, the system will learn this, and it won't have to ask you every time. Next time that person comes to the door, it'll unlock the door and say, your son is here. Because now it has identified that. Artificial intelligence would be making our lives easier by automating common tasks that we always do. Maybe the husband goes use the restroom, and he doesn't lower the lid like his wife asked them to do. But the artificial intelligence has heard the wife ask the husband to do this. The artificial intelligence will now, as the husband leaves the restroom, it'll lower the lid for them. So it reduces conflict, it reduces stress in the family and the home unit, and it makes a better living experience.
It makes people better friends with
Absolutely.
each other. It's only good. Or, I mean, so what kind of research are you doing with the AI in home?
My PhD thesis that I'm working on is I'm taking the AI structure, the database structure, as well as advanced wireless sensor networks. And I'm finding it to bridge a gap so the AI can use multiple wireless sensor networks as inputs to input into the home, as well as develop applications to take this data and make it more usable, make it more, basically give it a training aspect, as I said, give it a way to use information in a helpful, beneficial way. Because we want the artificial intelligence to be part of our family, to be maybe, in a way, we have our home dog or a home cat that's part of our family. We want the AI to help us and assist us with those mundane tasks, as well as alert us to things that might be happening. I live in the state of Texas, where we need to water the grass constantly in the summertime, but sometimes I forget. I get busy and I forget to water it. Well, my AI could be monitoring the moisture content of the grass. It could automatically turn on the water sensors and water the grass, and it can notify me at the end of the week, give me a status report to say, you know, we really need to irrigate the property more. Will you allow me to increase the water levels and increase the irrigation times? Also, what I've noticed is a higher pollen count outside. We may need to change the diffusion rates of the screens in the house to limit the amount of pollen in the house, or maybe the children should consider getting an allergy shot. We want the home to work with us, to give us a sense. The funny thing is, people for centuries have found a sense of ownership, a sense of relationship with their house, where they make comments, social comments of, oh, our old house has lasted our family for generations. There's a sense of well-being. Artificial intelligence just takes that sense of well-being and expands upon it, makes it more anthropomorphic, makes it more of a human influence in our lives. And I'm hoping with my research to help encompass that, help enable people to do more in their lives, and to focus on what's really important, that's relationship development in the family.
So the Internet of Things is huge, it's going to be future. How big a part of that? How is AI part of that in the home?
So as I mentioned, we have the sensor networks. Sensor networks is the Internet of Things. What's the Internet of Things? The Internet of Things is basically a microprocessor that does some sort of intelligence, either artificial intelligence, semi-intelligence, passive intelligence, with some sort of interface to connect to the World Wide Web, to connect to the cloud. That's all IoT is, Internet of Things. People think of IoT as like smart refrigerators, so that when you're low on milk, maybe there's a pressure sensor on the different levels of your refrigerator. And as you put your milk in, it registers it's 57 grams of milk. And as you start to consume the milk, it notices you have less and less weight. You get down to 10 grams of milk, and it could notify you, hey, we're down to 10 grams of milk. Should I go ahead and order more from the supermarket? And you say yes. And of course, it goes ahead and makes the order to the supermarket, and it's delivered to your home, or it's delivered and waiting for you at the supermarket to pick up the next time you go in the office, next time you go to the supermarket. So when you start walking towards the supermarket itself will alert to the fact, oh, here's all the items you wanted to purchase, and get it ready for the cashier. She can just walk in, get it, and leave. This becomes Internet of Things, this connectivity through the IoT and the vehicles and the home. It enables us by connecting us together with relational concepts to do more in our lives.
So the Internet of Things is sensors connected to the Internet.
Absolutely, that's it.
And the other part you're saying is how to connect them to the Internet, or?
So, for example, that refrigerator. So how do we connect to the internet? Well, probably either connects with a wired connection, which would be kind of hard, or the refrigerator has a power connection where it connects to the wall. So we have power, Ethernet over power, or power line, where the Ethernet packets travel through the walls of the power line and connect to the internet that way. Or it can connect through Wi-Fi or WiMAX or WiGigs, different frequencies to your access point in your house to transfer the data. And that's all Internet of Things, right? And that goes with something what we call cloud computing. What's cloud computing? The Internet of Things connects up to the internet. The internet then becomes the cloud in space-time, and the cloud is just processing power at some of the location with other applications running on it, probably managing the content that we get from the Internet of Things, which also goes together with our artificial intelligence, which may be localized at our house, or it may be decentralized at a cloud computing location. So they're all together.
Where is the AI? It's in the phone? It's in different kinds of processors around the house?
Yes, yes, and yes. So current AI, as shown here at CTEC, are all on the phone. Just like you have an Apple Siri, that's an AI. But in the future, we're probably going to have AI in the home with some central processing unit in the home, or distributed processing. We're probably going to have some processing in our television set, which we already do. We're going to have some processing in our refrigerator, our washing machine, our lighting control circuits, and the AI may be distributed across all of those processors, and depending upon how many IoT or Internet of Things processors we have in the house will help increase the intelligence factor of the artificial intelligence.
So what's going to be most interesting in the future is there's, for example, lots of new ARM processors all the time, but now the sensors are maybe even more interesting, right? And maybe how you use them. And that differentiates, for example, the Moto X has a bunch of interesting sensors and stuff going on there. And I guess this is where the next CEATEC and the next CES and stuff, all the new cool products are going to be not necessarily groundbreaking new, fast, new stuff, right? It's in the sensor world, kind of, right?
What we see, as you mentioned, ARM, for example. Most wireless chips now are ARM-based, ARM 7, ARM 9. It takes a lot of processing power to handle the encryption, the MAC to PHY transfers. So ARM is an integral part of the solution, as well as MIPS and other, other small 4-bit and 16-bit processor types. But these cores, which allow that processing, enable us to do different things: GPS, Wi-Fi, cellular, LTE, 5G, all these different things that are occurring. And then we're allowing to bring this connectivity for this content to be usable in our home. So this is a growing market, like accelerometers, for example, magnetometers, giving compass, giving all these things as we use it. It just extends the feature set of what we do throughout the home and throughout our lives. So this will continue to grow, and this is what we'll see at these conferences. Now there's another aspect, and that's the research and development. And when I say research and development, there's corporate research and development, but there's also university research and development. This is where we have people writing papers on technologies that are 7 to 10 years away, and these ideas are what is used to create new startup companies, to create these new technologies that we see at TTEC and CES and the IFA and NAB, and these ideas get processed into consumer products. So it's a complete life cycle of new ideas refreshing each other and coming together to enhance and make our life better.
So you work at the IEEE, something with the RFID, right?
I am the chair of the IEEE Committee in RFID, and in that role, we help to promote RFID, as well as NFC, near field communication, as well as energy harvesting, pulling free energy out of the hair to extend the battery life of your products. Felica is another name for this. Passimo is another name for this. So we take lots of different societies in the IEEE, and the goal of the IEEE is to advance humanity through technology. And that may sound scary, but mostly what we do as a nonprofit is we promote technologies, we go to universities, we give grant money to universities, elementary schools. We want to promote math and science. We believe not so much in political agendas. We don't care in Republican, Democrat, capitalism, communism, socialism. We believe that by extending science, math, science, physics, to the common people around the world, we can join together in unison to make a better humanity for all. Now this may seem altruistic, but really by bringing ourselves together and creating a better society and a better fit, this will help all of us. And shouldn't that be the goal of humanity, is to help each other and make our life a better place? And we feel that through science and through community, this is achievable. And not to say that religion isn't an aspect. Religion is a key aspect of the same involvement. And even though this may cause a lot of controversy, most scientists and physicists I know have a clear understanding that religion is a key part of this community and sense of involvement and development.
What is the name of the political party that says, let's give power to the engineer? Because often when there's problems in tech world, for example, it's often politics. And it's guys that are in charge that don't know what they're talking about, no?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
How there's no like engineers party or something?
No. And I think the sad thing is most computer scientists, physicists, electrical engineers, software engineer, mechanical engineer, we're so focused on the science sometimes. We're so focused on trying to solve the problem and make the world a better place that we ignore the other social aspect of people that maybe are trying to do well, but they have nefarious ways of getting there, of trying to become a politician, to swing votes, to be the yes man, ignoring technology around us, and only coming to technology when people say, oh, we should use this, and really there's some monetary issue tied with it. I think one of the most common things, but we engineers don't like to talk about, is when you're at the different company events, we're not supposed to talk to each other. But when everyone leaves the events and happens to show up at the sports bar or at the park, you start talking technology, we all forget about who we're associated with, and we all come down to how can we solve the problem. Sometimes these techno geeks are labeled hackers or technical deviants, but what you really see is they're people trying to help people, which is the goal of IEEE and a lot of other, kind of open source, open community, open eco-friendly environments. We're all helping each other. So I wish there was a geek party, because I would definitely be a member of it.
Cool. There's so many other questions I'd like to ask, but I'll have to stop the video at some point.
Of course. I appreciate the time, and anytime I can help, and I really appreciate all the work you do in spreading the gospel of technology and new ideas through your downloads, and I really enjoy looking at them. So cool. I hope